Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Stacey West YouTube channel. I'm Ben, and today I'm joined by Ryan from Trotter Chatter as the Imps head over to Bolton on Sunday, which is a very odd thing to be saying, but they head over on Sunday to the Toughsheet Stadium, hopefully looking to put 3 points on the board after what was a disappointing Boxing Day. But it sounds, Ryan, like it's disappointing Boxing Days all round at the minute. How you doing?
Yeah. Well, not so bad in myself, but sort of getting used to it in the minute, to be honest. So it's another loss at home for us yesterday against. Sorry, my cat's attacking me.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. So another poor result at home. We had the game in hand in the first half. Great performance, and poor game management, poor substitutes led to a loss at home to Barnsley. We've played for the millionth time in the past 3 years. So another loss at home. Fans aren't happy. Not brilliant at the minute.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just looking back through, past results, and I mean, we've not beaten Bolton since 2020, I believe it was, at home, and that was a bit of a thumping win. So it almost feels, from a Lincoln City perspective, kind of the right time to be playing you guys. I mean, you had a really good, solid start to the season. Excuse me. It seemed like you had a solid start to the season, and then maybe results have started dipping. But I mean, looking from the outside in, just purely at things like, your wins, your losses, and where you are in the table, it doesn't seem like it's the worst position in the world to be. So what's going on at Bolton at the moment, and what has gone wrong? And like you say, if people are getting frustrated, what is it that they're getting frustrated by?
So obviously, like we were down in League 2 4 years ago, and we've worked our way up, progression year on year. And ever since the playoff final against an Oxford side, you think Bolton should be beating. We were absolutely battered at Wembley, and there's very much been a dark cloud over the club since. Evatt's been kept on, given a chance to get us up this season, and we haven't got going. We've lost to local rivals, absolutely battered by Stockport, battered by Wigan, battered by Huddersfield. Some really poor results, and I think we're almost equaling our home loss from last season so far, and we've only obviously got halfway through. So there's quite a lot of unrest with the fans. They feel as if Ian Evatt's taken us as far as he can go, but he's been given that sort of vote of confidence by the owners. So, very frustrating. You get to a point where you feel confident. You're like, right, let's get behind it again, and something's not clicking. I don't know if the players have given up, or I'm not sure, but we're sort of like a really diluted Man City, if you can compare it to that. A team you expect to do really well, something's not clicking, and we are where we are.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. Like we obviously do our sort of predictions and chat around before the start of the season, and I think we all had Bolton up and in around it. Kind of at least. I think maybe not automatics for some of us, but we all had in and around the playoffs. So, I can understand, the frustration from fans. I mean, what's been happening on the pitch? Is it just kind of, you say the players have seemingly given up? Are they just, not performing to the best of their abilities? But is it just a tactical thing from the manager, or is it just the players aren't doing the jobs that they're being given? How's it playing out at the minute?
Yeah, so Ian Evatt is a big fan of Pep Guardiola, to sort of continue with that analogy, and he likes to play out from the back, possession-based football. When we had a weaker squad, where we spent less money on it, it seemed to tick really well, but it just looks like a group of individuals trying to play the game who have never played together before, and it's just not working. Like, we spent millions of pounds on some of the players, and it's just not clicking. I think he's trying to mix things up by switching to inverted wing backs and all sorts, trying to play a little bit more direct, and it's just not clicking. And I don't know what it is. I think fans are trying to get their head around whether the players have stopped playing for him or what, or whether just the recruitment hasn't been right for us over the past couple of windows. But yeah, something's gone terribly wrong, and I do feel like this window could be make or break for Evatt, because he needs to get in that playoffs, and he needs to go up really to save his job.
Yeah. Do you think the club will be giving him that opportunity to see the window out, or do you think it might be? I mean, we've talked about it on the podcast before. We say it as Lincoln fans. Sometimes, if a team's on a bad run and Lincoln play them and beat them, sometimes it sees the manager leaving. Is that, is that a real possibility, do you think, at the moment? Or do you think it is, like you say, make or break in the window and seeing what happens after that?
Well, there's been a lot of sort of really damning results this season that would have seen a lot of other managers be sacked. The sort of, it's not just the fact you're losing, it's how low your bar is when you do lose. He's got his January now. I think it would be the best time would be the last international break that we had, sort of the main manager sacking period. And again, we've been losing games, and he's still in a job. So you might as I'm thinking, give him what he wants. Let him try and turn him around, because we're not that far off the pace. Although, and that does make me question how strong this League One actually is, because we're like 3 points off playoffs with a game in hand. Despite that, so I think he will get his last window. Well, I see it as his last window to try and turn it around.
Okay, so you mentioned recruitment, saying it probably might not have been right for you guys, over the past couple of windows. Just looking through some of the names that were brought in, in the window, and we've got, likes of John McAtee coming in from Luton. Have any of them performed, or any of them impressed so far? Is there anyone that you've seen and you've gone, oh, I'm glad we've signed them over the break?
We signed Shun, a Hungarian international, who's been a real surprise. Apparently that's down to sort of this new company we're working with based on data for transfers. But I think it would be unfair to just pin it on players like McAtee and Mateta who've come in through the summer window, because no one is playing particularly well. So we obviously signed Aaron Collins last January, and he's been poor. We got Adebayo, obviously he's renowned for scoring goals at this level. He's been the same, so it would be unfair to just pin it on him. There's very few players who've really been a shining light for us this season. So that's what I would say.
Okay, so I mean, look, it's Christmas, it's the holidays. Let's try and find some positives for you for everything that's going on at the moment. So, I mean, what looking back through some of the results, I mean, it seems like you went on a pretty decent run, sort of September, October sort of time. Is there anything that you can see from a fan's perspective to say, right, if we tweak X, Y, Z, then we can probably get back to that style, that those winning ways, or is it just a case of that it's the same thing that's happening, just not quite as good, and it's been it's ended up being quite damaging for you? How has it gone? How has it changed really since that run?
Yeah, so I'd put it down to we've 100% got the players to do it. Like you put those players with another manager in a different team, they'll play really well. I think it's down to character, to be honest. It seems to be on these big occasions where we do falter, like we're playing Northampton away, no disrespect, and we'll play really well. But that Wembley appearance against Oxford, a great example. We always really big up the game against Wigan, and they get 6 points off us every season. So I think it's a character thing. A lot of nice guys, and maybe we do need a few baddies in the team who are willing to leave the foot in, grab the game by the scruff of the neck, and I don't think we've got that at the minute. So I think it is a character thing, because on a day, if it clicks, we are very difficult to beat. We've just not seen that this season.
Okay, so let's go into how you guys tend to set up. I mean, looking through it, looks very similar to the way that we tend to set up. 3 at the back, 2 up top, and then whatever else can fit in the middle, essentially. Has it been pretty consistent? Is Evatt stuck in his ways, and that's the way he will play football, or whatever? Or do you ever see changes in style if it's necessary during a game or even game to game?
I've only seen him do it once. I've seen him change to 4-3-3 once for 2 minutes. So but he is very much set in his ways. And I think that's what killed the game against Barnsley for us. We didn't have many fit centre midfielders. So we ended up putting Dacris Cogley in centre mid. And just so he could stick with that same system. And I think not having that flexibility can make you quite predictable. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do plan A well and you've not got a plan B, it does make it quite difficult. And teams do know how to combat that way of playing, which we've seen before as well. And there's almost a blueprint these days of how to play against that style of play. And I think that's why a lot of lower league teams are moving away from trying to replicate that Pep Guardiola style of play. And I think that's where we're at the minute. And again, this is where I think things have sort of gone as far as they can go. I'm dying for a manager who's willing to whiff the ball up every once in a while and just try and play the percentages a little bit. And I know other teams in the league have been like that before. With Blackpool, when Steve Bruce came in, they absolutely loved it when he played 4-4-2 on his first game. And I think that's where we're at the minute. We're a bit bored. We're bored by it.
Okay. And is it with the personnel you've got in, what you say it's, you're saying it seems like boring football, but is it a case, is it a case of you guys try and build from the back and push out, or is it, you'll try and hit teams on the break? How is a typical Bolton game stage and set up at this point in the season?
Very, very much possession based. We can have 70% possession from some teams. How it used to work, though, we were able to sort of create spaces, tire out that opposition, and then utilise the gaps that we're creating. But it's just not clicking the same. It's a lot more laboured, a lot slower. But yeah, that's the way we would play. You would very rarely see, for example, passing it out the goalkeeper. He would never kick it long. Long direct throw-ins, things like that. It's all about retaining that possession, which I did get when it worked. And that's the way we have stuck by. We have been a little bit more pragmatic. I don't know whether he's trying to look for something to break the mold a little bit, but that's generally the way we would set up. High press on defence, try and retain that ball back quickly, which again hasn't quite worked the same as how it normally does. Like when we've had Dion Charles in the past, he'll be on the defender in a shot, and that's where I sort of question, are the players buying into this system anymore? Because it used to work and it doesn't anymore.
Okay. So, I mean, it kind of sounds similar to teams that we've tended to get results off in the past. We do tend to sit back and maybe not invite the pressure, but, we will press very high. We will try and win the balls, win the ball off your fullbacks and your defenders quite quickly if we can. So it almost sounds like it could be an entertaining game, at least on Sunday. Is there anything from the imp side that you've seen of us? I mean, obviously, when we speak to a lot of teams or a lot of fans from other teams, it's usually kind of one of those. It's like, oh, Lincoln, they're a team that they seem to just go about their business and be relatively quiet, but seem tend to do well. Is there anything outside of that maybe that you've seen from Lincoln and you like the look of? Maybe any players?
No individual players. I like your manager and I like the way they've conducted the business. He was the chap who got last season, the striker on loan in the second half of the season. We were in for him also.
Joe Taylor.
Taylor, yeah, like when bringing him in, and obviously I think he scored like 9 goals in 3 games, something like that. But I just like the way how you don't sort of hold yourself at a level where no opponent, you don't give them too much respect. And like I say, you've sort of overachieved over the past few seasons, year-on-year progression where you look like you could sneak into those playoff spots. And I think you've got a very exciting manager. I would be more than happy to take over at Bolton should the opportunity arise. But yeah, for me, I've got no sort of ill thoughts against them. I'm a very respectable team, and I think it's a 6-pointer on Sunday for both sides, like the Barnsley game was for us. So it will be entertaining, and sort of frightens me a little bit because I do think that Lincoln could easily get the result.
Yeah, I mean, we had the prior 2 games to Boxing Day, we were exceptional. First half against Huddersfield, we were absolutely outstanding. The second half, they came back into it, but then the entire game against Reading, we were great in that one as well, you know. And then, unfortunately, Boxing Day kind of put a little fork in the road and took some of the momentum away. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the game. I think it's going to be a decent, entertaining one. We'll move into, you know, the bit that everybody always hates, and we'll see if we can tease a prediction out of you, Ryan. What do you reckon?
Okay, so I've not thought about this yet, but every time I've gone into the game being relatively positive, I've been let down. So I'm going to be very, very safe on this one. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. Okay. I do think we've been struggling for goals, and I don't think it'll be an easy game. So I won't bury us yet.
Fair enough. Well, look, I'm hopeful that we can shake off Boxing Day and you know, maybe get back to the ways that we were against Reading and Huddersfield, and hopefully, you know, we'll put in a performance that the lads will be proud of. And if we do that, if we perform to the abilities that we've got, I'm going to stick my neck out and say I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Lincoln. But so, you know, it's a place that I've never seen us win. You know, I've never seen us win in Bolton.
No better chance to do it now than ever. So
and there we go. You see, that's the thing. So look, Ryan, really do appreciate you joining us, particularly, you know, as it's over the festive period, mate, and it's busy for everybody. So if you want to take you know, 25, 30 seconds or so and just tell folks where they can find you, where you can find your content, and yeah, that's that.
Yeah, so we're the Trotter Chatter podcast, the main Bolton Wanderers podcast, and part of the TalkSport fan network. So you'll hear us on the radio every once in a while, and you also get us on the sort of the main audio streaming platforms, your Spotify, your Apple Music, etc. But yeah, if you fancy hearing about how the opposition are getting on, you won't be cheered up. If you're looking for that, you won't find it, but that's where you can get hold of us.
Great stuff. Well, look, really do appreciate it, mate. Thank you ever so much for joining us, and to everybody else, we will see you very shortly. Until then, up the imps.
Lincoln City are the team, the Raiders is their name. Stinsel bankers their home ground, and football is their game. So come and cheer them on, you lads, support them all the way. Oh, 'tis hardly life for the red and white, the imps are here to stay.